What's going on, y'all? This is Legion Invictus.
My name is CB Perry.
Hey, this is Matt Mason, and you're watching the 411 with Crew 412.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the 411 with Crew 412. I'm your host, Mont Jones, and we got a jam-packed show. We bring you that local Pittsburgh talent. That's what we do here at Crew Productions. And on this episode, we have Jordan Howard, CB Perry, and Matt Mason. The first time I heard this artist, man, this brother, he had freestyle for us here at Crew Production Studios. You got to check this interview out. Jordan Howard, man.
What's going on, everybody? This is Legion Invictus, aka Live from the City, Young Black Jedi, Monopoly Master, and this is my spotlight.
From the place where their bodies are found, blood member puddles and rain on the ground. Bitch, I'm coming up, they can figure it out. Call up Encyclopedia Brown.
Okay, so I've been writing music since I was about 9 years old. You know, I always wanted to sound like Ja Rule and stuff, so I would try doing that. I've been actively recording and producing music since I was about 15, 16 years old. 16, I think I learned how to make beats. 15 is when I started actually rapping in the studio. And then I've been kind of taking it seriously since I was 18, 19 years old. My style of music is very versatile, as evidenced by some of my past material and some of my new material. A lot of my past material, I do a heavy amount of melodic things with my voice and a lot of singing. Whereas now, I'm taking more of an aggressive approach with the rapping. But just like with my music, with my overall sound, I just think like it's a very versatile sound and it could change at any given moment. You know what I mean? And I think that's what really excites people about my talents and exploits. Well, when people listen to my music, particularly with this next project I'm getting ready to drop, which is called The Freak Show, I really just want people to understand that there's not just one side to any story. You know what I mean? With something called The Freak Show, I mean, obviously you're going to be thinking like something with a lot of variety. You know what I mean? And, there's so many different sounds on it and so many different sounds I'm experimenting with now. But that's because all these different sounds bring out a different side of the story. So when I experiment with the R&B sound, I'm getting a little more intimate or a little more vulnerable. When I go with the more trap sound, it's more like an aggressive, I'm trying to make a statement, you know what I mean? Or when I get, like with a boom bap song, I tend to get more political. So, you know what I mean? Just like I just want people to know that there's different perspectives to everything, and there's always different sides to every story. In every hood, every city, every state, every country, continent, every side, you know what I mean? Like, music does a lot of things for me. When I first started making music, it was really more as a means of therapy. Just like if I just felt a certain way, I would write a song about it, or I would make a beat that reflected, my feelings at the time, like playing certain notes, using certain different types of drums. But as I've, gotten more and more into music and just the creation of it, I've started to realize that like not only is it just for me, but there's other people who count on my music. Is it just for me? But there's other people who count on my music.
Tell me your name.
You know what I mean? Like there's people who listen to Legion when they're feeling down. There's people who are, bumping Legion on their way to the club. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then there's people who are playing James Earl Ray with protest signs right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like the music is just so versatile, and you know what I mean? It's more than anything, I would just say music is a blessing. Well, there's two sides to One Hood, and I'm a part of both. There's One Hood, the hip hop collective side, which I'm a part of, along with Jasiri X, Jordan Montgomery, Black Rap Medusa, LUC, Idasa Tariq, Apollo. I'm missing a lot of people, you know what I mean? But there are a lot of people affiliated with like the hip hop collective side. You have One Hood Media Academy, which I am a teaching artist in. So, I'd like spend some time with the students and kind of just, we just talk about things that we see in the media, kind of decoding it, deciphering it, and kind of figuring out how to combat it ultimately, because one of the biggest truths about the media that nobody really wants to talk about, but is definitely an elephant in the room, is that they do not like us. And y'all know what I mean when they say us. They don't like us. They are not for us. They are definitely against us. So basically, you know, just equipping them with the knowledge, the armor, the skills, and the weapons they need to go to war with the machine. I would say one of my most memorable moments would be the first performance I did with One Hood, and that was actually opening up for Rakim and Dead Prez. And I found out that I had to do it literally 2 days before. So I think the performance was on a Friday, and I found out on a Wednesday. You know, Jasiri texted me, and he was just like, hey, you know, you're going to be opening up for Rakim and Dead Prez on Friday, so, you know, we're going to meet up and talk about it on Thursday. And I'm just like, okay, that's cool. Another really memorable performance for me was performing at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater for the Martin Luther King celebration, because Martin Luther King is one of my favorite figures in history, in world history, and you know, to just be able to honor one of my favorite people that has ever walked the earth, as well as in front of like my community in this historic and iconic theater. You know, it was really something that was near and dear to my heart. And my mom was in the crowd too, so that was super awesome. One of the people I'd love to perform with would have been NWA. You know what I'm saying? I would love to perform with Travis Scott. He just seems like he's really fun. And I also really hope to perform with Lady Gaga. I know that's like one that's like out there, but I just think that her and I would have this weird chemistry that would just kind of work on stage. So I think that'd be cool. Well, when people listen to my music, particularly with this next project I'm getting ready to drop, which is called The Freak Show, I really just want people to understand that there's not just one side to any story. You know what I mean? With something called The Freak Show, I mean, obviously you're going to be thinking like something with a lot of variety. You know what I mean? And, you know, there's so many different sounds on it, and so many different sounds I'm experimenting with now. But that's because all these different sounds bring out a different side of the story. So when I experiment with the R&B sound, you know, I'm getting a little more intimate or a little more vulnerable. When I go with the more trap sound, it's more like an aggressive, you know, I'm trying to make a statement, you know what I mean? Or when I get, like with a boom bap song, I tend to get more political. So, you know what I mean? Just like I just want people to know that there's different perspectives to everything, and there's always different sides to every story, in every hood, every city, every state, every country, continent, every side, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, all different perspectives. Well, I do make beats and I do engineer all my own material, but on top of that, I would say that I'm like a master at Monopoly, and also I'm a Jedi. I'm a black Jedi. This is a real culture, and you know, I know how to use the Force, and I know it very well. I think that, you know, a lot of artists I see, not even just in Pittsburgh, but just everywhere I go, I see a lot of artists who have been putting years and years of work into the same grind that does not give them any results. So do not grind hard, grind smart. Do not grind hard, grind smart. What I don't see people doing is using strategy in their grind. Like, okay, we're gonna put work in this area, but that's going to get us here, which will allow us to do X, Y, Z. So I would just say, you know, just grind smart. You know what I mean? In addition to grinding hard. You know what I mean? Not to say that grinding hard is not essential, because you will have to grind hard.
Our next spotlight is a visual artist. Check him out. CB Perry.
Hi, my name is Quentin Perry, better known as CB Perry. I am a visual artist, and this is my spotlight. I've been painting all my life. Ever since I was a kid, I had a passion for art, drawing, painting, sketching, sculpting ever since childhood, elementary school, middle school, high school. I've been in all the art clubs growing up. It was just a huge passion, but it was never really put out there like that or the forefront because my athletic ventures kind of overshadowed my artistic creativity. A lot of people noticed I was good in sports versus I was good in arts, and I noticed that early on. I noticed I had a passion when I was young, and I would say when I turned 30, I decided I'm going to take art serious. I used to do a lot of visual design and graphic design for friends. I just did it for fun, for free. So in the last few months, I decided to take it serious, and it's been taking off ever since. What inspires me is my emotions, what I'm feeling at the time. I might be angry one day, and you're going to see a lot of aggressive pieces, a lot of reds, a lot of bright colors. Or if I'm feeling mellow, or it all depends on what pop culture, what's happening at the time. And my friends inspire me. You know, they're very creative people, and they inspire me to be creative also. My style of art is pretty random, a lot of expression. I wouldn't say it's a particular style. It's kind of all over the place. I don't excel at one style versus the other. I'm capable of doing any style. I could paint, I could use watercolors, pretty much any type of style. There's not going to be a clear-cut resemblance between each piece all the time. It depends on what direction I want to go with each piece. As a teacher, I always try to incorporate some type of artistic skill or creativity or direction in basically daily use. It could be from we're actually doing an art lesson, or it could be from we're actually trying to build something, or even on the playground. A lot of kids ask me, Mr. Quentin, how do I make a triangle or a square? And I'll show them different ways to do it. And it's really interesting to see them, take that and run with it. The kids seem to really take from it a lot, and whenever I show them something new or something creative to do. My art is portrayed through the community and through the social aspect of what's going on. Or it hasn't made a big impact yet, but I definitely plan to shake up some things and ruffle some feathers. I have a lot of things in planning in the works, so be ready for that. And I feel art can make a huge impact on social issues. It gives people a voice to express certain things without not necessarily saying it. And it gives people a creative window into what's going on without necessarily saying it. I know a lot of people, they don't feel comfortable speaking or comfortable necessarily on a podium or a soapbox speaking about issues. But if they have a creative outlet like art, it could definitely be portrayed and send out a message. The art scene in Pittsburgh, it's been on a slow increase in my opinion. It's definitely growing as well as the city, but I feel it could grow a little faster. More and more people are becoming interested in other creative outlets. They're looking for more creative hubs to hang out at versus the typical movies and dinner, or it's growing, and I'm noticing a lot more events happening. So I'm kind of happy, but I wish it would move a little faster. I see a lot because I'm technically in the community. I see more than the average Pittsburgher sees. So I see a lot of events, but the average person may have never heard of it, seen of it, been to it, and it's foreign to them. So they might not definitely be interested. But having artistic friends and people who are in the arts community, it helps. I see a lot that people don't see, kind of the behind the scenes of what goes on, but it's pretty cool. It definitely helps a lot. So far, most recently was the August Wilson Center. I was in a Showcase Noir a few weeks back. Pretty successful. It was a fun event. It was my first big event. It was awesome. So hopefully there'll be more ventures coming up soon. I hate seeing people who want to do something and they never have the courage to do it, and that kills creativity, that inhibits it. And I want people to see my art and say, just pure creativity and just let loose. No laws, no rules. It's just a lot of creativity and no restrictions. I'm a pretty good cook. I'm a pretty good guy in the kitchen. That's another, in my opinion, that's another form of art. I love the culinary arts. Cooking's fun. And I'm oddly enough, I can juggle. That's a skill I just happened to fall into, and I was bored one day, and I became a really good juggler. Alright, I welcome you guys to my creative workspace. This is where all the creative magic happens. Here goes my color pencils. I kind of play with. I don't do too much art with color pencils, just getting warmed up and just cool stuff. Some of my paints, it's a little messy, but I guess it's supposed to be. It helps the creative process. I have my knives, my palette knives, my brushes. I have my brushes here, cool brushes, different type of sizes. Advice I would give an aspiring artist is use your time wisely. You're going to be very, very busy and get used to it. That's why you should love it. Anything you do, whether it's art or anything, you should love to do it because you're going to be very busy to be successful. You're going to be busy, so learn to love it.
We had the chance to go by the studio and catch up with this next artist. Sat down with him, talked to him a little bit, see what projects he had going on for himself. You gotta check this interview out. Mr. Matt Mason.
Hey, my name is Matt Mason, and I am a singer-songwriter, and this is my spotlight. Well, I've been singing ever since I can remember. I'm told that I've been singing since I could produce sound. Ever since I can remember, I actually singing and writing. As I would learn words, I would make up songs and sing them. Even unfortunately, some of the bad words, I would kind of make up songs. So I had to, learn what to do and what not to do. But singing has always been just a huge part of my life. And so, but it wasn't until church, singing in church that it really clicked for me. I really felt like, man, this is something special. This is something in my heart, a special connection. So ever since then, I've just been, just singing every chance I could, doing a lot of background singing, and every chance I could. So it's just always been just central to who I am. Everybody knows me, knows that I sing. It's really hard for me to kind of box it in to one genre. Certainly from Christian perspective, I would say, but I love all styles of music. One of the common threads throughout is kind of this gospel approach, this gospel kind of just sensibility, that kind of just gutsy, go for it, flat-foot singing type of thing. So whatever genre I'm doing, I try to stay true to the genre, but there's always going to be that church undertone to it. So I would say that's one of the things that I think characterizes my sound. It's just kind of like that church upbringing. I just can't get away from this. My music is inspired by so much. I feel like, I guess in general, just be life, Life is hard, it's great, it's beautiful, it's simple, it's deep, it's complicated, it's all of these things at once, and that's a lot of material to write about, that really drives what I do, my passion, even beyond my life, other people's stories, their lives, or perspectives, all of us we have a perspective, you know what I mean, but when we take from, other perspective, we're able to see more of a mosaic of reality, of life. It's a beautiful thing. I would say, as a Christian artist, the Bible and God certainly influenced that. Certainly, I would say maybe anchor, but I'm all over the place. I'm just looking around. I think just everyday life. There's inspiration literally everywhere you turn. There's something to notice, and one thing is not necessarily more important than the other. It's the little thing is important, the big thing is important, and so I try to write from that perspective. Singing live versus singing studio is very different, at least, especially for me, I would say. I'm an introvert, actually. Even though I can get on stage and I can make you think I'm an extrovert, I'm actually really an intense introvert. So, when it comes to live versus studio, I'm gonna pick studio any day because I kind of get in the studio and kind of get lost in the music, kind of just put it all out there, kind of just without distraction. Just me and a microphone, and I just go for it. When I'm in the studio, I'm really interested in execution. It's about execution. It's about trying to convey emotion making sure that what I'm singing is not only heard but it's felt. Because you won't be able to see me on a record. You know, you'll only be able to hear me. Live singing is different. You know, there's both experiences are great experiences, but live it's like it's more of an energy thing. It's more of a conversation between you and the audience, or more of a conversation between you and the band. You know, it's more of an energy thing. It's more of a communication. You know what I mean? Between a conversation between everyone. So I would say with live, it's about the experience. It's about being in the moment. It's about that energy. Those are very different experiences for me, but both really great. And I want to be great at both. Well, I studied music and grew up actually really in Southern California, and so that's kind of known for music. You know, so many different artists, popular artists have come from Southern California. So, you know, I grew up surrounded by those things, those influences, and so for me, it was like Southern California is the mecca of music, you know, because that's just being a little biased, you know, that's where I'm from. And so coming to Pittsburgh, I honestly didn't expect much, to be honest. Like coming from California, I thought it was, you know, steel mills and all kind of stuff, you know. But coming to Pittsburgh, I've just been blown away. I mean, phenomenal talent. Like literally, some of my favorite artists in the world live here or came from here. Like it's incredible. So having been here, I did not know how much of a rich musical history Pittsburgh had. I didn't know how diverse just the offerings were, you know, in terms of visual arts and music and acting and performing. I mean, just so many talented people. So I mean, I would say Pittsburgh is like one of the top in my opinion. I mean, there's just countless amazing artists here in Pittsburgh. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the water, but I'm glad to be here now. I work with a lot of artists here in the city. Been meeting a lot of people. I came here in 2009, and so in that period of time, I've gotten a chance to work with a lot of really great artists. I sung background for a lot of gospel artists like James Ziegler, Trini Massey, Nikki Porter, a lot of different studio sessions and things like that. You know, work with James Johnson and Cliff Barnes and Karen Petit. A lot of great artists here in the city. I mean, so many great talents. So one of the struggles that I've had as an artist, period, and in Pittsburgh, and I think probably anywhere, is just not boxing myself in, not letting anybody else box me, not letting anybody tell me who I am and what I do and what I should and shouldn't do, you know, in terms of maybe what makes sense business-wise or what makes sense to a certain demographic or what will make me the most money or what will put me on the biggest platform. Because ultimately, if I were to get to these platforms, if I was to make that money, it wouldn't be something that's sustainable. It would be something that is really enjoyable because it's not me. And so, you know, kind of the ways that I've kind of approached that is just to, as a general rule, do what you feel. Do go with, you know, have your core set of values, have your core set of things that are anchoring you, that are your foundation or your pillars, and then from there, you know, build up, you know, and stay true to that too. And so, you know, whether my next album sounds like jazz or whether it sounds like, you know, pop, whether it sounds like soul, it's not really important to me. As long as my heart is in it, as long as, you know I'm supposed to be doing it, that's what matters to me. And I think one of the mistakes that we can make as artists, as gifted people, is to be so consumed with our gift and so consumed with the applause or the rush that we get from performing or the gratification that we get from doing something that's excellent that we forget about giving back. None of us would be where we are if it wasn't for someone investing in us. For me, it's so important to give back, and it's so important, particularly the younger generation. So many of them are dealing with so many different things, and they just need an example. They need somebody to encourage them. They need something to aspire to. And so that's what is going to keep music alive. That's what's going to keep the arts alive. That's what's going to keep this country a great country. It's going to keep this world, you know, in peace. Is being able to give back to young people and help them to become the all God created them to be. So of course I got the album called What I Know that's out now. It's a really, I think, a great album, to be honest, like non-biased. I think it's a great album. A lot of great material, different sounds, different little something for everybody. That's out right now. So it's available everywhere on all digital media outlets. You can pick it up on iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon, Google Play, anything you can think of. You can pick it up out of my trunk. I got you. I'd love for you to take a listen to the music. But it's available everywhere. I'd love for you to support. I really think that you'll really like it. One thing that's on my heart for artists, particularly young artists that I work with, is not to seek a platform more than you seek being great at what you do. You know what I mean? I think that this age of Instagram and followers and wanting to be discovered and trying to get the YouTube hits and all these things, it's more important to be great at what you do, and really even more important than that, to be whole. And so I would say don't be consumed by the lights and the smoke and blinded by all that, and lose the integrity of who you are and what you do.
Thank you for watching another episode of the 411 with Crew 412. If you want to see content and other episodes, go to the website at www.crew412.com. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I'm your boy Mont Jones signing off, and I want to say thank you, and you, and you, and you for kicking it with the crew.